You could put on, the Rocky theme, or that theme from Karate Kid. You could have all that. It's a big training montage.
Oh, Masioka, you are hilarious. Hi guys, what's up? I was just watching the special DVD collector stuff from my Heroes DVD. It helped me forget about Season 2. Speaking of shows I like getting sodomized, who here's seen Stargate?
Stargate was a 1994 film by Roland Emmerich, the alien invasion/disaster movie master. It tells the epic tale of pre-Boston legal James Spader and Snake Plissken as they venture through a giant reverse-flushing space toilet to a desert planet, where they fight an evil alien living inside a young boy. To aid them in their struggle, they have the Indian father from Heroes, the from the Crying Game, Harry from Third Rock from the Sun, and a hot Israeli actress who once played a character named Thel Russell. This movie was pretty good, and 3 years later spawned what we in the industry call a spin-off, called Stargate SG-1. It was really damn good, and just happens to be the longest-running American sci-fi show in history. Turns out that the giant reverse-flushing space toilet goes to more planets than just Arrakis. It goes all over the galaxy. So MacGyver and a bunch of people who barely had careers before this all go around the galaxy exploring and fighting aliens.
I love this show. I have most of the seasons on DVD. The ones that I don't have, I can get on Netflix. The mysteries are going through the gate, the people to meet, the enemies to fight. It's awesome! Well, although, there's been a couple of bumps. There was that video game that got canceled, and, some people didn't like all the Farscape actors that came onto the show, but that was alright. I like Claudia Black. But, then there's... Stargate Infinity.
Yes, in 2002, the live-action spin-off show got an animated spin-off show. Doesn't that sound like a great idea? Isn't that an idea that when you hear it, you think, wow, what a great idea? No, it's not, because it isn't. This show lasted for one season on the Fox box, and I personally never watched it back then. No wonder, since I hadn't seen SG-1 yet. Besides, by that point, Fox had jumped the shark so far with Saturday mornings, I'd given up on it. But that's a whole nother story. Our story is set 30 years in the future. Incidentally, the Goa'uld, Replicators, Ori, and Wraiths have all been defeated. Keep in mind, this show was aired during Season 6 of SG-1, only to be replaced with the remarkably uninteresting alien warriors known as the Tlak'khan. Also, Stargate Command has heavily invested in action figure technology, since now everyone has bulky, colorful armor, laser weapons, and tons of G.I. Joe-looking vehicles. So, there are two centerpieces upon which this plot axis turns. The first one relates to one of our characters, Major Gus Bonner. He was framed for leading a squad into an ambush, which supposedly killed them. Of course Gus was framed, and one of the plot elements involves him clearing his name. The other one involves this chrysalis that they found in a sarcophagus near the first Stargate. I guess they just decided that now, 60 plus years later, would be a good time to check out the area around the gate. For no real reason, they think there might be evidence of an ancient. The Ancients were the alien race who made the Stargates. They were very powerful, advanced, and, ancient. So, when the chrysalis opens to reveal this worm thing, they think it might be a baby ancient. Long story short,
too late!
The shapeshifter that framed Gus lets the Tlak'khan into the SGC to try and take the Ancient. Gus and a bunch of rookie SG explorers escape to the Stargate in their awesome vehicles. Unfortunately, they can't just go right back to Earth because they've been locked out, what with the shapeshifter framing Gus and all. The chrysalis hatches into an alien named Draga, and they're trying to find Draga's homeworld, where the Ancients might be. They try to do this by hopping semi-randomly from world to world, hoping they'll eventually find it, all the while staying one step ahead of the Tlak'khan. So that's our premise. A group of heroes traversing the stars, a vicious enemy hot on their heels, a mysterious alien in their midst, with no way to get back to the safety of terra firma. But who are these brave characters? Meet Major Gus Bonner. I mentioned him earlier, but let me give some more details. He's the leader, often drives the Jeep, has an awesome scar, and apparently is a history buff. He's not a perfect guy, but he's tough while still being a diplomat. He's voiced by Dale Wilson, a VA who was really active in the 90s cartoon scene. He even got to be Cell in the ocean dub of DBZ.
How dare you? You're a peon compared to me. Yes, the data shows that you're no match for the androids, and you're certainly not a match for me.
I'm sorry, Echo. We can't take the chance of going to Harath without a clear mission objective.
Dale was also, ironically enough, in both an episode of MacGyver and an episode of SG-1, during Season 6, no less. Anyway, next character. Meet Stacy Bonner. She's Gus's niece, and wow. Let's take a minute before we discuss her character to talk about all the things that are wrong with her appearance. Don't get me wrong, people can wear whatever they want, but not in the military. You expect me to believe that the United States Air Force would let this woman go around in uniform with swooshy pink goth hair, a head tattoo, pierced ears, and blue lipstick? No way, Infinity. No way. Anyway, on to Stacy's character. She's a military brat at heart like her uncle, and she tends to kick ass first and ask questions later. She also has a curious habit of doing really stupid things on alien worlds. Well, okay, they all do that at some point, but Stacy more so than the others. She gets to drive the ATV and is played by Tefane Kristen. I recognized her voice instantly. Can you?
What are we waiting for? Let's kick some Tlak'khan butt! Yakuman! Digivolve to Beomon!
Oh yeah! Both Beomon and Yoli from Digimon. Other than that, not much else. Anyway, moving on from this fashion disaster, we get... a personality disaster. Meet RJ Harrison. What does the RJ stand for? For all I care, it means rancid jackhole. Harrison splits his time rather evenly between being kinda funny and really annoying. He'll make a great joke, and then do something stupid that gets everyone in trouble. He'll do something badass or clever 1 minute, and then say something like...
Oh man, I thought when I joined the Air Force I wouldn't have to think anymore. I just have to follow orders.
Wow, great way to make our Air Force look like a bunch of mooks, ass. It's like he's trying a little too hard to be Maverick from Top Gun. Talented, wisecracking, and loyal. The problem is, Harrison doesn't have the same charm as Maverick. I kind of feel like they took the two parts of O'Neill and split him in half. Gus is his warrior half, and Harrison is his smartass half, and it really doesn't work. Harrison's big shtick is that he has a jetpack and is an expert flyer. He's voiced by Mark Hildreth, probably best known as Alex Mann from the Action Man cartoons, and as Hiro Yui from... Wait, what?!
Hiro? Hiro Yui? Gundam Wing Hiro Yui?
This mission's really big. I don't think you get it. This time is different. We're gonna eliminate every Oz leader.
Maybe for once we'd come through a Stargate into a world with a working soda machine.
The voice acting business is weird. Next character.
Meet Seattle Montoya. Oh, Seattle, Seattle, Seattle. I think this girl probably gets the golden trophy for worst character in this show. Seattle is a Navajo and has fakey psychic powers like Sarah from Team America World Police.
I sense that you're slightly confused right now.
She also happens to be kind of a tree hugger and particularly preachy. Mostly because she lived a hard life as a teen, so she has lots of experience to draw upon when lecturing. She has a motorcycle and is voiced by Bettina Bush, who voiced Rainbow Bright, and a Navajo girl from Ben 10. Irony, irony.
Nothing, and the alien stuff's cool, just not as cool as when you were a Yenal douchey.
Oh, way. Too much like my gang tattoo. I thought that was beautiful too, for a week. Worst thing I ever did.
Meet Echo. He's a half human, half... whatever kind of alien he is. I do some research, but I really don't care. He's the resident mechanic, often mans the gun in the Jeep, and is our walking symbol about how racism is bad. Being half alien, none of the Earth kids were ever nice to him. They didn't even show up to Echo's incredibly lame birthday party. Wow, they have party hats and everything. Why would they want to miss out on all this fun? But you know what really gets on my nerves?
Dude, that's badass! He's like an alien Wolverine! Too bad he can't claw people like Wolverine, though.
I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice.
By the way, Echo is voiced by Kasue Mankuna. You thought some of the other voice actors here were obscure? This guy's IMDb page is barren. There's more substance in a fortune cookie. The only things this guy has done that I've ever heard of were The Condor as the skateboarder Z-Man, and in Mucha Lucha, where he appeared as two different characters.
Tomorrow, you going down. The championship and that fine lady's gonna be all mine.
At least you are fully human. Try finding someone to hang with when spikes shoot out of your skin.
Finally, we meet Draga. She's believed by just about everyone to be one of the ancients, despite no apparent evidence to support this claim, and in fact, evidence that outright discredits it. Being very young, she doesn't know much of anything, kind of like how Teal'c didn't understand things in human culture.
Your world is a strange place.
This helps provide the lesson of the day by having the human members of the team explain things to both her and the audience. Despite her naivete, she's also very powerful, with vast telekinetic and telepathic powers, but they only show up when the plot needs them to. She also has this really dumb mental bond thing going on with Seattle to the point where Draga can find her anytime via telepathy. Their intimate bond invites ideas that are either icky or hot depending upon your mileage, but I digress. Draga is voiced by Kathleen Barr, a more reputable VA who's been heavily involved in the Barbie franchise, along with voicing Morrigan from Darkstalkers, Dot from Reboot, and Kevin from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Weird.
You dorks get lamer every day.
What wrong with using ship? I have watched. You all share everything, always.
So I've given you the basic overview and introduced the characters to you. What am I forgetting? Oh yeah, this show sucks!
Why does it suck so? Allow me to give you just the tip of the iceberg. First off, even though this show isn't canon with the rest of the franchise, that doesn't excuse screwing the Stargate franchise right in the wormhole. This show almost seems to go out of its way to betray simple aspects of the gate's functionality. When the gate is activated and the location dialed in, the gate makes it an unstable wormhole, but what is also referred to as a kawoosh. This wave can disintegrate anything it touches, including living tissue. It's kind of an important thing in SG-1, but it doesn't freaking work in Infinity. The kawoosh can disintegrate people in SG-1, but can't get rid of a layer of snow in Infinity. Next on my list, everywhere they go, they run into alien life. And not just the alien bacteria kind, the multi-celled, has a culture, speaking perfect English kind. In SG-1, they run into humans on nearly every world because the Goa'uld had taken humans from all different cultures on Earth and relocated them to various parts in the galaxy, hence why we have Mongols and Native Americans in space. Admittedly, this was only done because they didn't want to either A, spend a huge budget on aliens, or B, do the Star Trek thing by having aliens be people with blue skin. Most of the alien life is interestingly designed, but almost always poorly written. Next, our villains are a complete joke. Let's, in a constant desire to compare this show to SG-1, take a look at the Goa'uld. They were ruthless, megalomaniacal, sadistic, technologically advanced, and had a flair for theatrics that I could admire.
You will get to see your home one last time before you and everyone on your planet are destroyed.
The Tlak'khan are exactly none of these things. Don't get me wrong, they're bad guys, but they're the worst kind of bad guys. They truly have no motive other than to be evil because the plot says so. And to this end, the Tlak'khan leadership sends this guy, Dakhil, to capture the team of heroes. And he tries, again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Dakhil is our big bad in this show, and he is lousy. He's not threatening, dramatic, intelligent, or captivating in any way. He almost always tries the same thing.
Prepare an ambush!
Yes, Commander. Another ambush.
Worst of all, check out what Dakhil says when one of his subordinates displays some genre savviness.
We've ambushed the humans before, and somehow they always escape. Perhaps we should try something else. Something different.
No! That is the human way. If they fail, they think they should try a new way of doing something. That is weakness. Tlak'khan are strong. When we fail, we try again. And again, and again! We will not be changed! And that is why the Tlak'khan will always win in the end!
In case you didn't know, this is the episode where the theme is try different things. And Dakhil is in a little under half these episodes. Otherwise, they're usually trying to save some civilization, which isn't nearly as cool as it sounds, and there are no other reoccurring villains, because the Tlak'khans are our only villains! Which brings me to my next point. Nothing is ever anybody's fault in this show. Too often, people do terrible things and get off scot-free. Let me give you another example. In one episode, the group comes across an old friend of Gus's who had disappeared. Turns out he retired to another world and set himself up as a monarch, making his rules the law of the land and making a fortress and statues built in his honor. Kind of reminds me of that guy from The First Commandment, an early episode of SG-1, where an SG squad leader sets himself as a god on a primitive world. When Gus's friend Shepard eventually betrays him to the Tlak'khan, everyone involved, including Shepard, believes he's been doing a crappy job and should step down. He gets a short lecture from Gus about how mentors aren't perfect and people are flawed and blah 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 blah. So, should Shepard pay for his oppression of the native people with a prison sentence or by return to the SGC? No, just let him go somewhere through the Stargate. No repercussions at all.
I should go.
So what this show is telling me is that if the Allies had captured Hitler in World War II and made him realize what an asshole he had been this whole time, they would have just let him go and continue on to try and be an artist. That's what you're telling me? No! As long as we're here, let me briefly sum up why our heroes are nitwits with the charisma of sea urchins.
Harrison's a cocky idiot. Seattle's a bleeding heart. Stacy's impetuous. Echo has tons of childhood and trust issues. Draga doesn't know anything. And Gus... Alright, I guess Gus is alright. Best of all, these guys are so easily distracted, it boggles me. In one episode, they find a gold mine that was previously being mined by aliens. So what do they do with this discovery? They start mining themselves. Do the words, "on the run from evil aliens" mean nothing to you? Of course, the lesson of this episode is, greed is bad. Go figure.
Oh, what else should I bitch about when it comes to the series? Okay. One more big thing, then I promise to wrap this up.
See, as they were leaving the SGC, our heroes took a bunch of vehicles with them that I mentioned earlier. In theory, pretty cool. In practice, pretty dumb. In case you don't see my point, let me explain something. In SG-1, before any human is allowed to go through the gate, they send a rolling probe through first to check out the scene. You see, otherwise, there's no way to know what's on the other side before you go through. And these guys don't have the benefit of probes, so they drive their vehicles through the gate at 60 miles an hour into the unknown.
Well, how bad can that be? I mean, it's not like it bites them in the ass all the time, right?
Okay, that was my last thing. I'll wrap this up, I swear. So, after going all over the place and learning about how people aren't perfect, trying hard is important, and not to judge people, they come through another Stargate in South America. Yep, another gate. That makes, 3 gates on Earth now? Of course, their whole purpose of being there is to test their faith, because this lesson is to finish what you start. They decide to stay rather than go back through the SGC and get chased back through the gate again, their sense of purpose renewed.
It doesn't matter, Major. We'll go wherever we have to.
Until the job is done.
Yeah, we're in it for the long haul.
Well, it's good that you're ready for the long haul, Harrison. You're still canceled, though.
This show ended with nothing explained. No closure, no answers, no anything. And thank the ancients for that. This show was preachy, poorly written, poorly animated, and way too kid-friendly. Now, there's nothing wrong with a show being for kids, but this takes it a little too far. I don't really mind the lasers and armor and stuff since it's a kids show, but don't be such a sissy. The first episode is the only one where anyone actually hits anything.
This show's rating, a 2 out of 10. A spit in the face to Stargate fans. If I had my way, you know what? I have lead editing skills. I'll show you how it would end.
Osiris.
Sorry, Major Bonner, but you can't go through the gate without the right toll.